Jason Ross Jr., welcome to the Sport Profile.
Thanks for having me, Dylan. Big fan of the pod. Appreciate you having me on.
Of course, man. Thank you so much. We were just talking about, transitioning from broadcast to broadcast. For somebody in your shoes, traveling a lot, you could be doing one sport one week, a different sport another week. What helps you most, aside from preparation, because I feel like that's something that everybody says, aside from preparation, what helps you kind of stay on top of everything?
It's funny. I was on a plane yesterday morning,
Yeah,
and I had a conversation with someone who at the time was a stranger and met. Every now and then you meet someone on a plane and you become good
of
friends. And
course.
I was having this conversation with someone who I was learning a lot from, and we were saying like travel is a constant art of how calm you can stay. And yeah,
That's so
what's
true.
what's the tests? You're gonna need a test every day, and travel is usually the ultimate test and art form of how calm you can stay. And so we were saying it's just always better if you can find whatever fits your mindset, your ability to stay calm in this crazy life. What guides you to calmness? I think
Yeah,
searching for that. For me, I like to do things to ground myself, like meditation and reading in the morning, kind of get the mind rolling. Uh,
beautiful.
I think if you can kind of control and command your morning, like yesterday was an early flight, as they usually are. I think if you can control the way you start the day, then the obstacles that go along with your travel and whatever prep you have coming up. You mentioned the prep, of course, that's the most important thing coming up. I've got
Yeah.
sports over the next couple of weeks. I'm doing gymnastics, basketball, and hockey.
Wow.
So I'm kind of right now,
My
hockey is going to be the last
goodness.
one in that stretch, but I'm already kind of making sure I'm looking ahead to that. So then you're just
Yeah.
always on top of things ahead of it. So I think how calm you can stay, whatever gets you there, blended with your prep. Um, Also, you can find little hacks as well. I just discovered packing cubes. Been a good
You
one
just
recently.
discovered a packing cube?
Just got in the packing cube game, Dylan. I was
How
late.
are you a sports broadcaster and
I
don't know about a
know.
packing
I'm
cube?
late in the party. It's one of those things you're like, you can let me see how long I can go without getting into this and just keep doing my
What?
routine. But now I was like, let's break the cycle and get into some packing cubes. I'm in love with the packing cubes now. So
Wait,
that
so
was
how
a big
long
addition
wait, so
recently.
how long did you not know about packing cubes for? You can't
Um,
you can't just say that and get away with it.
No, I went a solid 4 years without, being resistant to the packing cubes. Then when you
Really?
jump into it now I'm, like, texting my friends, like, "You gotta get in the packing cubes yet." You're like, "You gotta get into
Yeah.
this." It's, you
So
can't
you had
beat it.
known about him for 4 years and just were,
Yeah.
like, willfully ignorant?
Oh, yeah, for sure, but now I'm not ever gonna go back to the pre-packing cube life.
Well, at
This is
least you can admit it.
post-packing
Like,
cube life.
the good thing is you can admit it.
Yeah,
I'm the
oh,
same
yeah.
way. I'm the same way with a handful of things. Like, certain social media apps. Like, I was very much willfully ignorant with TikTok.
I love TikTok.
Like, hate it.
That's yeah, you
Pe-
either hate it or you love it, but then once you jump
right.
into it, you can't stop scrolling. That's
No,
the issue.
exactly. A lot of people were like, why isn't the sport profile on TikTok? And I was like, I don't want another app to doom scroll on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but you reverse it
And it's
around
true.
and it's building the brand, Dylan. Who knows where it could lead to? Like, you
I know,
just
I
find
completely
the silver
agree.
lining in something, and then you jump into it and use it as an excuse to do more doom scrolling. I've got to limit my
Right.
scrolling on TikTok. It's an issue. It's a
W-
legitimate
eh,
issue.
So there's something I unofficially coined with a friend of mine recently, and it was
Uh-huh.
like productive doom scrolling, where
Ooh,
you
see,
go down like a what?
that's it right there. TikTok,
Wh-
when you
When you
find the right things that you wanna see, it becomes
right,
productive doom scrolling. I like that.
correct.
Silver
So for
lining.
me, lately, it's been furniture flipping, DIY, and 3D printing.
Nice.
I don't have the ability to do any of those things. I don't have a 3D printer. I have no zero craftsmanship ability, zero skill, never done it. But for you, what would you say are your productive doom scrolls? If you have any
Yeah.
right now
I guess
or, in the
for sure.
past.
I feel like if we stick with the feed on TikTok, you're liking this conversation already, Dylan. This is awesome stuff. I noticed you have the WNBA hoodie on right now, by the way. Shout out to
Yes,
your hoodie. That's an awesome. I love the orange W hoodie. We got to shout that
of
out.
course.
I think for me, it's a lot of depends on time of the year. WNBA can be in my scrolling, just seeing different updates, news. I do the Chicago Sky here in Chicago.
Yep.
I love the WNBA. I think also on the life side of things, like motivation, different mindset videos, different approaches to life. I love just people talking about that kind of stuff and learning.
Yeah.
From people. So I think that's probably my most productive doom scroll. Then cooking every now and then, but that's like one of
Love.
the things where I may not be willing to try to cook this, but I enjoy watching other people go for it
Okay.
and then hiring the one day you have some time, try to create something new on the cooking side. So I think those are some of my doom scrolls. Trying to think of any others. I think travel is definitely one that's up there, seeing different places.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those are probably top four categories right there: sports, travel, mindset, motivation, and some cooking that I'm probably not going to do.
Love it. And,
Yeah.
again, I'm the same way, especially with the cooking. It's like you'll see these recipes all the time. Are you gonna make them? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Zero intention of doing so. Look great, but are you actually gonna sit down, get the ingredients, and do it? No, absolutely not. You might say you're wanting to, but will you actually do it? Absolutely not. Never. So that was like present and maybe past doom scrolls. What,
Mhm.
you know, maybe less of a doom scroll. Are there any areas outside of like, broadcasting and, speaking and things like that in sports that you would love to dedicate time to that maybe you just haven't?
Hmm. It's an interesting one to kind of digest there. I would probably say like dipping into what motivates people in
Okay.
life, and different places around the world when it comes to that, because I think that it's so intriguing when you go around and we talk about travel in different places. One of my favorite parts about this job is all the different places you get to see, people you get to
Yeah.
meet. I love broadcasting because every day I was telling someone last night, every day you meet a player and they have a different reason for their why in life, what they do, why they do what they do, or why they're motivated to do what they do. So I think that when you go around and travel the world and see why people are motivated to do what they do,
Yeah.
that's something I would definitely love to travel around doing, whether it's people in different fields. Like I'm really into learning about people who are different crafts, musicians,
Sure.
comedians. There's a book called Tribe of Mentors that kind of personifies this pursuit that I'm trying to describe here. It basically
Yeah, I understand.
interviews. Yeah, Tim Ferriss. It basically interviews people in a ton of different fields and asks them, if you could do something over again, what would you not do? Which is kind of really important that we don't talk about. What would you not do?
Yeah. Huh.
Also, what would you do? What would be your best piece of advice? But I think like one of those big ones is, what would you not do in life? Like yesterday, I was on the flight that I was mentioning
Mhm.
and met someone and just kind of started picking their brain on life. This person had lived in four different countries. And I asked this person, what are your pieces of life advice from having lived in different places and met different people and had different experiences? And it was interesting. She told me, don't ask why too much, which
Okay.
that's a fun one to kind of comprehend. I
Yeah,
was
that's
like,
very
I was
interesting.
interpreting it as, you can ask why and go out and always have a curiosity about you and wanting to learn, but also kind of getting out there and letting life teach you, and
Yeah,
letting experiences be your why for now what your mindset is in a different situation. I think going
that
out
makes
and getting
sense.
your own whys as opposed to asking why too much, is something that I took away yesterday. So also, I think maybe another pursuit you can. I love talking about mindset. So I think that going out and just having mindful conversations with people or doing
Sure.
mindfulness videos or different things like that could be maybe something I'd love to dip into in the future if I had a month off.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I think something that would be a pursuit. My other career choice outside of broadcasting when I was growing up was actually Formula One driver. So it was like
Oh, shit!
broadcaster or Formula One driver. So it was always, going fast, speed, learning. So
Huh.
I think, yeah, it was like two very different things, but it was two choices.
Interesting
Broadcaster or Formula One
dichotomy.
driver. Yeah.
Interesting dichotomy that you're into all
Uh-huh.
this mindfulness stuff, which is much of a slower pace
Yeah. I think
then.
maybe like I think for me, so broadcasting a game is a relatively fast thing. Things are
Of
moving
course.
quickly. You got a producer in your ear, you've got a game happening. I was doing a
Yeah.
basketball game the other night at Creighton. Things are moving 100 miles per hour. They were
Hell of a
playing
game, by
Xavier.
the way.
Xavier's a super fast team. I love calling hockey. That's the fastest sport you can call. Doing gymnastics. That's in kind of
Yeah.
It when you on the surface, for you might not know from a broadcasting standpoint, it's actually moving really fast in your mind too. So,
Yeah.
and then
Hell of a
Formula One
game, by
driver,
the
of
way,
course,
that
moving really
Creighton
fast.
Xavier.
Right, yeah, yeah. So I think doing things that are fast paced, but finding ways to slow down the mind within that
Sure.
is for me the art form of doing that. And then back to the travel conversation, it's like travel, you're going mentally fast, things can be stressful, but how can you calm your mind? So I think I'm really interested in calmness blended with fast paced things is
Mm.
why, or maybe, yeah, maybe I'll
That
pursue
is
being a Formula One
fascinating.
driver for a month. But yeah.
So, kinda on the topic of being mindful, you know, I first had discovered you years ago when you were doing, your show Motor City Roundup with Jenna
Right.
Rose, and isn't it isn't it wild to think about how much time has passed since then? How much
Yeah,
has
it is.
changed?
It's
Remind me
crazy.
what year that even was, because that was, like,
It's
21?
Yeah, I would say 2020, 2021. Yep. Kind of in the
Right.
midst of COVID times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you still close with Jenna?
Yeah, we are. We still chat. I saw Jenna at a Chicago Sky game. We were actually technically
Nice.
working the same job again because she was hosting a Sky game against the Valkyries, and I was calling that
Amazing.
one on Ion. So full circle there. You
That's
go back
so cool.
21, and then fast forward. This was now summer of 25. This past summer,
Mhm.
we're working the same WNBA game.
That's amazing. For you to reflect on your career and your personal life, do you do that often about how much time has passed? You know, maybe since 21 or even 20 with the, start of the pandemic and such like that. Do you do that often? Having that mental reflection?
I do. I think it's super important. I actually have a friend who I send kind of a monthly gratitude email to, like, just kind of, we call it our momentum builder email. So it's kind of a monthly, this just
Really?
happened for the past 4 weeks, and
So
now kind of
cool.
writing it down to make sure you see it. And then naturally, I don't know how if anyone has, different ways of thinking of this, whether it's, concrete or whether it's, spiritual, whatever it might be. Just I think gratitude naturally leads to more happiness, and
I'd agree.
yeah, you see it on paper. I like to write things down, so I'll do my
Sure.
own weekly gratitude journal too, and, that might be something as simple as, safe flight to Omaha for Creighton Xavier the other day, or, this week I'll definitely write down, had an awesome finish at Xavier Creighton, game came down to the buzzer, and,
Yeah.
I'll definitely write that down in my gratitude journal on Sunday. So I each week, I think serves as a moment to be able to reflect on that, and then you mentioned you can take it back to years and, the journey and thinking back on times that you'll never forget and just kind of
Right.
writing it down so you literally will never forget them. I think is super important. But yeah, I think it's a blend of kind of a micro gratitude over the course of a week to maybe slightly more macro to a month, and then
Sure.
definitely macro in terms of, you mentioned last 4 years, a lot to be grateful for. So I definitely try to remind
Yeah.
myself of that each day. It's really amazing, really
W-
amazing.
When did that kind of mentality first begin with you? Like that sounds like something that's, obviously developed over the years and, you've become more mindful of and more intentional about. But what kind of was like the catalyst that I guess kick-started that mindset for you?
Yeah, I think having, just amazing mentors and friends in my life, I think that having people who kinda think that same way, and it naturally creates, your mindset, what you surround yourself
Sure.
with, what you're gonna become. So I think trying to learn from people who have that same feel for gratitude or being reflective, or, kind of being grounded in the moment. We each have our own aspirations in life, of course, but to kind of sit there and really reflect on how incredible a moment was, whether you're in a hotel after a game and you kind of sit there and reflect on it, especially if it was a really, really good game, or you got to travel somewhere new for the first time and you love the city, or you meet
Yeah.
some incredible person, or like for me, when I was at that stage, like in college, I was always constantly going around trying to meet other broadcasters who
Mhm.
were doing what I aspired to do. And it would be so, so cool to just, meet someone who I study every day. And now I'm, in the same room with them. And
Right.
now sometimes you're working the same games as those people. And
That's an awesome feeling.
absolutely incredible. So I think to go back and look on the journey of, being in just the seat of taking down notes and surrounding yourself with people who are in either the position you want to be in or around people who have a mindset that's always wanting to strive to learn something or help someone else. Or I think that reflects back on you and you naturally
Totally.
carry that forward in life. Um, yeah, I think my parents, I have a really amazing mentor. His name is EJ, helps me out a lot with mindset related things. I'm always trying to study different people. You had
Mhm.
Lauren on the podcast, Lauren Jabara.
Of course.
Like I remember being in Detroit and seeing her and all her work that she was doing and now watching her career progress. And I remember being, in rooms asking her for advice and kind of full circle a couple of years ago. We ended up in the same city for different games at the same time in Indianapolis when she was working for the Hawks and I was doing a game for Fox. So little moments like that I love to reflect on and just stay with because
So
it just
fun.
it carries you forward. It makes you really happy to think about and
It
naturally
does.
happy. It leads to more happiness.
Yeah, I agree. So, we talked about mindfulness. We talked about your productive doom scrolling, but
Yeah.
what would you say are some of the things that you enjoy doing with your time, when you're not broadcasting and, obviously your head is the pillow at some point. You are going to bed at some point. Look, if you're pulling all-nighters
Yeah.
in the way that you are, that's impressive. But what would you say are some things that you are doing outside of your work to maybe keep you grounded?
Yeah. Let's see. I'm a just got really into so I live in Chicago, just
Yeah.
got really into riding my bike along Lake Michigan. That
Ooh,
was a really fun thing to start doing this past couple of summers. That I
love.
feel like is a good right, kind of good meditative, like grounding type deal. You get to be around the great people of Chicago too
Definitely.
when you're doing that. You can't do it right now because it's -4 degrees outside.
Yeah, and the Jersey's about to get smacked with,
Yeah.
2 feet of snow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, East Coast, feel bad for you guys. Then yeah, here in Chicago, it's yeah, another day in the park in the January winter here, but
Yeah, right?
summertime, Chicago, when I'm
Yeah, oh,
calling
I've heard it's
WNBA
great.
games, I like to ride the bike before and get out on the water and enjoy that.
Yeah,
Um, I think putting myself in settings where I'm meeting new people too is
sure.
always fun because I love like going back to it. I love learning new perspectives. So I think that's always a fun thing to do. Let's see, spending time with family, of course, is great. I'm from Michigan, so whenever I can get back to Michigan and spend time with the family, every
Absolutely.
now and then I'll get a Michigan State game or Michigan game with Big Ten Network and
Lovely.
end up back there. And I usually hang out with the family whenever I can doing that. Stops around the country, seeing family and hanging out with them is always really fun. And being able to stay grounded with them is great. So I
Yeah,
think those are a few things kind of away from broadcasting that I really enjoy doing. I love to write down thoughts too, of
of
just
course.
things and seeing and learning. So I think those are a couple of big things that definitely jump out.
So, no, for I love that. I need it reminds me, I do want to get a new bike. I haven't had a bike in, like, years just because
You
like, I
can do
grew
it.
out of it.
I
No, I
didn't. So I
want
took
to, I
a like
really do.
I took a bike hiatus too. I didn't because there's kind of that gap when you stop riding versus
But
you
it's
kind of becomes
unintentional, though.
no, it becomes like you have to make it intentional to become a hobby, I guess.
Right.
That's yeah, certain things are like that where you leave them maybe in an earlier stage of life, then you bring them
No,
back as an
exactly.
intentional hobby. Biking is definitely one of those things for me.
Yeah, oh, for sure, without question. I think for me also that's, like, pickleball. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love pickleball.
I just got into
Love it.
pickleball. Dylan, oh, we didn't even talk about pickleball. So, yeah, I did just get into pickleball too. That's been another kind of external
It's
hobby
addicting,
picked up.
dude.
It is. I love tennis, which different games,
Of
definitely
course.
different games, but, I narrated a pickleball show that was going for a little bit on
No
CBS
shit!
Sports. We did the Association of Pickleball Professionals. It was, Mesa and Sacramento were the 2 stops that we did, shows
It's a
with.
lot of fun to watch
A
live.
lot of fun.
Like,
It's a lot of
Major
fun.
League
I've actually
Pickleball?
had, the pickleball channel on my TV kinda recently where you see the live pro tour events,
Yeah,
and,
it's
so I've
so
been
cool.
man, dude, I love it. I've been making new friends in the city, like, just playing pickleball, and
Right.
it's big in Chicago, huge in Chicago. A lot of
Oh, I'm
courts,
sure.
indoor, outdoor, really cool views too. First time I played was in an outdoor court in West Loop with these gorgeous views.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pickleball has been my thing recently.
So you had mentioned something very interesting there that is kind of leading me to this question. You said you did a pickleball show,
Yeah.
um, which awesome. Is there any sport that like you haven't done that you really want to like do? Broad from a broadcasting perspective.
I would say
For me, I never covered fencing, but then I got
ooh,
the opportunity to.
interesting,
So that was
interesting.
like huge check off my bucket list. So what would be that sport for you?
Yeah, quick follow-up question on fencing, like, how
Yeah.
much research did you have to do to kinda learn the sport?
Good question. I so the context behind that was I covered the Jewish Olympics in Israel through an internship, and we were covering uh the gold medal fencing match. Um and I really it wasn't much of like a play by play or anything like that, or like a game recap or a match recap rather. It's not a game, it's a match. Um it was more so about like the history of fencing tied within Jewish culture. So I didn't
Wow.
really have to do that much like prep. I think had to do or like research on the game itself, like rules. I think it was more the research was more like historical and contextual in that sense. Still a lot, still very intensive, but different than what I think you were asking.
No, that's incredible. I think it like, when you find something that's just different and unique than anything else you're doing, it really serves as that experience.
I've always just been so fascinated. Like break it down bare bones. It's two people with swords
Right?
touching each other.
The
Like
poke.
that's what it is.
Yes. I love
It's
that.
fun.
Well, speaking of matches, my answer to your question would definitely be tennis. I love tennis.
Really?
Yeah, so right
Oh,
now you mentioned all-nighters. The Australian
sure.
Open is on right now, and I'm like,
This is
I'll
true.
last night I had to force myself to go to sleep, the time zone, so I will but, it's funny, I woke up yesterday in, Nebraska, and my
That's
flight was so
wild.
early that when I woke up, I, you wake up to the Australian Open being on.
Yeah.
So that's it's like the night matches at that point, the Australian Open. So I
Mhm.
love tennis to a point where like I will set the alarm clock for 4 a.m. to watch
Yeah.
the Australian
Oh my
Open.
god.
That I would definitely say
And
tennis.
Australia's what, 12
Yes.
or 24 hours ahead?
Australia.
Yeah, what's the
I
time
don't know
difference?
the exact difference right now, but they would be
They're
sleeping right
definitely
now.
over 12,
They'd be sleeping right now. Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, as we record this, yeah, they'd be sleeping, yeah, so, yeah, I would say tennis, definitely, so going back to mindset, I love
Yeah,
the individual sport, of course, you have doubles, but
sure.
the mindset of an individual tennis player is something I love studying. I love watching videos of, Novak
Hmm.
Djokovic, talking about his mindset or Federer talking about his mindset,
Totally.
talking about her mindset, or different players, Breakpoint, the special on Netflix that was on a couple of years ago. Like, I
Yeah.
hearing different players talk about their mindsets, like Iga Swiatek and her approach to her tennis. So I feel like I could just be in that atmosphere, kind of poking at players' brains for days, and just
So
love the
cool.
sport. I love the drama of it. I love the nature of how you're out there as an individual, and you have a coach, but you're solo out there, and it's you
Right.
and your racket, and how who can stay in it mentally for sometimes hours on hours. So I
Right.
love that about tennis. So tennis would be that sport that I
Oh, that's
haven't
so
done yet and
cool.
would love to do.
Oh, awesome. I I can I've been slowly getting into it. I think honestly that's one of the other things I was like willfully ignorant about is like consuming tennis and golf.
Yeah.
Consuming golf and consuming tennis. But like I don't know, I've learned to appreciate one how intense tennis is and slowly appreciate it how, just intense golf can be
Mm.
because for me, I'm just like, yeah, I'll destroy anybody in mini golf. I've never been to like an actual 18-hole golf course, but put me on a driving range and I'm just going to want my first intention is or my first thought is how far can I smack the shit out of this?
Alright.
That's my only thought,
You're not
right?
thinking about form, nothing, just total
No.
power
I
destruction.
mean
Yes.
so I worked at Top Golf for a
There you
little
go.
bit in high school. It was the only job paying over minimum wage. So I mean being a golfer is not a prerequisite. Um but they do teach you a little bit. part of our training was that we did get like a professional golf lesson. So I know how to hold a club. I know
There
how
you
to hold
go.
my own. And I could show you how to do it. Can I show you how to go yard? No. But that's not the point. I can show you how to hold it so you won't throw it 30 yards.
That's the key. That's the
Arguably,
key.
that's more important.
And
So,
tennis, hold on to your racket, and then you get the form down after that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Priorities.
Priorities.
So, Jason, the last question I do ask everybody is just broadcasting aside, your professional career aside, really just you as a person. And honestly, I feel like I have an idea of what you might say just about how this conversation's going. But Jason Ross Jr., what's something you like most or admire about yourself?
Mm. It's funny. I had this conversation with someone yesterday. No joke. And we
Somebody
were
asked you that question?
asked me that yesterday. And it was like
Are
we were
you
having,
kidding?
not joking, Dylan, not even kidding. It was like a prerequisite for this interview here.
I
And
thought I came up with that question.
you did. I'm giving the question credit to you. 100%. 100%. I think for me, like I answered it as a curiosity. So I love to, as we talked about, I love to
Yeah,
learn about people, and I think uh,
absolutely.
kind of an insatiable curiosity,
Yeah,
and always yearning to want to learn more and kind of get out there and experience more. Experience whether it's like I think maybe in a piece of advice if anyone who wants to get into broadcasting out there is
mhm,
listening to the podcast. I'm sure you have a lot of aspiring broadcasters listening. I
yeah,
think always wanting to learn more to a point where, you mentioned the experience of doing fencing or like, I have gymnastics next week. That's been a new sport for me over the next couple of years. So
sure,
we're being afraid to go out and learn something new, even if it's uncomfortable. I think maybe that's my favorite part about life right now, not being afraid to go out and do something new, even if it's uncomfortable. I think that is such a fun way to live because you never know what's going
I
to happen
agree.
that way. And I love that about this job. You never know what's going to happen. And you
Totally.
go out and you go broadcast a game and you do not know how it's going to end. And I think when you
Sure.
go out and attack life the same way, that you're not afraid because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. And maybe it doesn't go your way, but like one of my favorite people to learn from is the late great Kobe Bryant.
Of
And he
course.
would kind of describe failure is not really being a real thing. There is no failure because you just take it as a lesson that was learned to then change what you're doing the next time around. So I think
Yeah,
that if you can approach life that way, I think those are probably my two favorite things about my mindset right now: a curiosity and um, not really being too wrapped up in what the outcome is going to be, which I think is
sure.
a great way to broadcast games too, because you're never really going to know what's going to happen. Therefore, you can't script it. So, like, I took improv classes recently in Chicago,
So
and
cool.
so cool, so fun. Second City, shout out Second City, legendary spot here in Chicago, and
Yeah,
I think with that, it was another lesson that you're gonna have someone in front of you or someone next to you who you're talking to, and you're not gonna know what they're gonna say, what they're gonna do, but you improv off that, and you can only do that when you're not so set on what you think is gonna happen. So I think
absolutely.
being not so set on what you think is gonna happen is the coolest way to live in life.
Oh, 1000%. May we all continue to be more mindful
There we
and
go.
have that intentional curiosity as you so beautifully articulated there.
Thank you,
Jason,
Dylan.
thank you so much for coming on the show. And I deeply hope you get to broadcast tennis soon. And
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to all of your games going forward.
Thank you, man. I love that we came up with productive doom scrolling.
Yeah,
Intentional
right?
Because actually, you even upped it, I feel like, when you said intentional doom scrolling. Really positive.
I
So,
think it's because I think, like, if you go down a healthy rabbit hole like that, like, you can't feel bad about yourself in that. Like, social media will make people go nuts, right? About things they're insecure about, whether it's relationships, list goes on, right? You can't be insecure about not having a 3D printer.
right. 3D printer is life.